you have my wife's phone number? Can you hit her up on the phone and just be like, are you near here? Are you here? That kind of thing. And then we're going to go ahead and bring up, I believe, Robert Kiyosaki. Are you ready, sir? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, for round two, this will be Tom Wheelwright and Robert Kiyosaki breaking down their systems and their processes. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand to your feet and greet the tag team duo of Tom Wheelwright and Robert Kiyosaki. There he is, one more time, Robert Kiyosaki, joining us live from Tulsa, Oklahoma, with Tom Wheelwright. I'm going to give you guys the floor in both mics, so that way you guys can rock and roll here. I'm going to get you on a cordless mic here. Check one, check two. That's your mic, sir. This is a non-corded mic, so you're a little bit less free range. He's free range, and we're going to start here at 5, and we'll give you guys till 5:45 to let her rip, okay? So here we go. 45 minutes.
Vanessa's here. Well, I don't know where she is. I'll tell her to show her.
This is Tom Wheelwright. Taxes. Hello. Taxes are number one expense for most people, and we're taxed upon tax. And as I said earlier, is that America was founded as a tax-free nation. It was called the Boston Tea Party. And ever since then, things have kept getting worse and worse and worse. And now our national debt is 36 trillion, but off-balance sheet liabilities put us at around 250 trillion. And as I said, we're printing $1 trillion every 90 days to 3 months. So America is technically bankrupt. And I just came in from Tokyo, where I was teaching out there. It's interesting that Germany, Japan, and America are the engines of the world economy, and we're all deeply in debt. So that's what happens with no financial education. So that's why, Tom and I have been friends for 25 years now. And I make as much money as I can and pay as little tax as possible. So that's what I do. Take it away, Tom.
All right. So by show of hands, how many of you pay tax? Raise them high. How many of you pay tax? And how many of you would rather not pay tax? Raise your hand. There's more people that raise their hands for not paying tax than that pay tax. So, so like Robert said, we've been working together for about 25 years, traveled all over the country. And one of the things several years ago, we were in Santiago, Chile. And Robert asked me, as we get up on stage, he says, I want you to teach them how to deduct a Bentley, because the sponsor of the event was the Bentley Lamborghini dealer. And on one side of the stage was a Bentley, and on the other side was the Lamborghini. So I get up and Lambo Steve. So I get up and explain, okay, here's the rules for deducting a Bentley. And at lunchtime, this tax attorney from Santiago comes up to me and he says, you can't do that here. And so I'm telling Robert that. I'm telling Robert the story later that night. Robert just kind of looks at me and goes, huh. And next morning, he turns to me as we're about to go on stage and he goes, hey, Tom, I want you to teach him how to legally deduct a Bentley in Chile. I said, okay. And we did, didn't we? Later that day. And we actually looked at it a different way. At the end of the event, the same tax attorney came up to me and said, I never would have thought of doing it that way, but it absolutely would work. So the question is never, can I do that? But how can I do that? Right? Not can I deduct it, but how can I deduct it? Now, I've spent 45 years as a CPA. I was with Ernst & Young, one of the biggest accounting firms in the world, including 3 years in their national tax office. I taught at Arizona State University in their Masters of Tax program. I was with a Fortune 500 company for 4 years as their in-house tax advisor, and bought, built, and sold CPA firms for about 25 years. And then the last several years have been building a franchise of tax advisory firms. So because Robert keeps telling me, he goes, look, you want the asset to produce the income, not the services to produce the income. And I'm a slow learner. But the franchise is an asset. So the franchise can produce the income and other people can learn how to do this. So we built these systems in order to do this. So the question is, how many of you would like to learn how to go from this side of the quadrant to this side of the quadrant? Raise your hand. Okay, because there are some fundamental differences between the two sides of the quadrant. And Robert, you correct me if you think I missed anything here. But one of the things that I notice over here is these three letters, DIY, do it yourself. These are do-it-yourselfers. Three most expensive words in the English language. Do it yourself. On the other side,
What Tom's talking about, each one of these people has a sub.
oh, you know what? You need your mic.
Each person has a sub dialogue going on.
Right.
So an employee always says the same thing. I'm looking for a safe, secure job, steady paycheck with benefits and retirement. That's all they can
home office, by the way, you're an employee. You don't get to deduct that as an employee. But if you're a business owner, you do. So it's just a matter, you've got to start changing your thought process about how you look at the tax system.
That's one thing that Tom taught me. They're incentives. So the reason this person pays the least taxes, why, Tom?
Because the incentives, well, let's think about this.
Oh, the bees.
The bees, what do? They create jobs. They create jobs. They create technology. These are things the government wants people to do. And in order to encourage them to do it, that's why Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and these guys didn't pay tax for 20 years while they were building their businesses, because those were government incentives, intentional government incentives, not loopholes, intentional government incentives to get them to create these big businesses.
And so that's why this is 500 employees, right?
Right.
To get to the 20, you have to have 500 employees. So when I was understanding all this with Tom, it was actually faster for me to go that way.
Yep.
So the I is a better way. And again, that's what a capitalist does. The definition of a capitalist is somebody who's employing people and money. People and money. And unfortunately, our schools teach us to be the people and the money. And it's so opposite. Like I think I've told the story, but when I was at Arizona State, Tom and I were teaching at Arizona State, their honors program, and 39 professors shut us down. They didn't like what we were teaching. So, so much for higher education.
Right. Now, why do these people get to zero? Because they're doing things that the government wants even more than jobs. They're creating food, energy, and housing. Agriculture, energy, and housing. These have such amazing tax benefits that this is why Robert can take the money that he earns from his books over here, and he can put it over here. And not only is he not paying tax on his real estate, he's also not paying tax on his books sales, because that's how big the government incentives are. That's what you do every day, isn't it? So what happens when you're getting money into the company? What do you have to do with it?
Move it.
And where do you move it?
To other people. Real estate, food, energy. So I invest in oil wells. I invest in Wagyu cattle and lots of property, apartment houses specifically. And my friend was trying to ask me to plan for retirement, so I bought a retirement home. That retirement home pays me $90,000 a month. That's not a lot of money, but that's almost tremendous. But that's, once you get it, it changes the way you look at everything. So if it's going to cost me money, how can I turn it into making the money? Like Tom was talking about the Bentley and all this. Most people, well, it's going to. The reason Tom is so important, his books, tax-free wealth is so important. They're incentives to do what the government wants done. But when I talk to these mental midgets out there, do you know what I mean? They're like, oh, you're cheating the government. Yeah. How you cheating the government? But that's the tape from mommy and daddy. Yeah. I think that's the hardest part, is you're still listening to mommy and daddy who are probably poor. So that's the hard part. It's not disrespect, but time to move on.
Well, yeah, it's like, how many of you ever heard the idea of pay your fair share, right? Pay your fair share. I'm going, well, let's look at this though. The government is in an enviable position. Think about this. If you could do this, you get to be a partner in every single business enterprise in the US, and actually by any US citizen globally, you get to be a partner. You have to contribute a little bit up front. Okay, that's the tax benefits, but you get a share of the profits forever, for generations and generations. And your partner can never get you out of it. And guess what? They don't get to choose whether they're your partner. How many recognize that y'all have a partner called the US government in your business? Raise your hand. How many of you recognize you have a partner called the US government? They are your partner, whether you like it or not. Now, here's what's really interesting. You have a bit of a choice. And this is the difference between the left side of the quadrant and the right side of the quadrant. Over here, they're a silent partner. They don't do anything for you. They just take your money. So you earn it. You do all the work. They take 40, 50, 60%. That's the partnership you're in. Okay. But when you move over here, all of a sudden, it's an active partnership because they're actively contributing funds by reducing your taxes. That's their contribution. And they go, we're willing to contribute to your investments. I mean, the government will actually pay you to invest. The government will pay you to start a business. For those of you who haven't started a business yet, the government will actually pay you to start your business through tax benefits that you wouldn't otherwise get. You're right now, you live in your home. You're not getting tax benefits as an employee. You start a business, you have a home office, all of a sudden you're getting tax benefits for things you're already paying for. So the government's literally paying you to have a business in your home. Literally more money in your pocket than you would. In fact, the government will pay you more to start a business than it costs you to start a business. It's so easy to start a business these days. So this is the thing. Do you want to be a silent partner? You want a silent partner? You want to be an active partner? I'd maybe rather be an active partner.
The big thing here is who's your tax advisor? And the reason I say that is there's a lot of tax accountants I went to, and I forget the name of those yo-yos. They told me to sell all my real estate.
I remember this. I remember this.
And buy mutual funds. And I said, you guys are accountants. We're Big 8, what the hell they were.
They'd come out of Arthur Anderson.
They were so stupid. I mean, it's pretty bad. I mean, I was an F student, you know. But if you know more than your tax advisor, get another tax advisor. But you have to interview them. You don't just say, well, he's a CPA. And that's why Tom is going to be teaching CPAs in a franchise situation, which I'm very honored that he's going to use the cash flow gain. Because most CPAs don't really see this, do they? I mean,
no, they don't. They're actually most CPAs
are S's.
Are S's. They're afraid of the tax law. They're afraid of the IRS. And in fact, I was at the National Tax Conference for the American Institute of CPAs a number of years ago. And the IRS commissioner got up and he looked at us. There's 1,500 of us in the room. And he said, you work for us. You're the I'm turning to my wife and we're going, we do not work for you. I'm sorry. We work for our clients. You want somebody who's working for you, not for the government. And that's part of the problem. So good news is chapter 23, and I think there are a few books left out over there, but chapter 23 of this book is actually one of the chapters. Robert asked me to write this book years ago. And one of the chapters he says, would you please teach them how to find a good tax advisor? So chapter 23 is how to find a good tax advisor. So how to interview a tax advisor, what you should be looking for in a tax advisor, and what questions the tax advisor should be asking you.
Quick interruption, unsolicited, and I don't make any commission to pitch this. How many of you own a business? your biggest expense is always taxes. Now, my wife over here, beautiful lady, my wife will come to me. She's like, I just finished paying the taxes. And she'll be smiling, excited that she made the final payment. And I look at her like, do you hate me? It happens all the time. Once a year it happens. She's like, we just paid the taxes. And I'm going, I think you hate me. How many of you feel like that every time you write a check to the government? And what these guys do is they help you pay the least amount that you legally can pay. And so I know some in the back, some in the middle, some of you are watching, you're going, accounting, this is the worst session ever. But we're talking about protecting half of your income or more. This is your biggest expense. So I want you guys to really dial in, and we're going to do a little Q&A here in a little bit, but really dial in because this is some powerful stuff, and I just cannot endorse what they're saying more. So really dial in. Then we're going to do a great, very extensive Q&A here in just a minute. So I'll leave you alone.
Thank you. So in case you're wondering, is it really legal what we're talking about? Let me read you a quote from the judge of the Second Circuit Court of Appeals. His name was Learned Hand. True story. His name was Learned Hand. And he said, anyone may so arrange his affairs so that his taxes shall be as low as possible. He is not bound to choose that pattern which will best pay the treasury. There is not even a patriotic duty to increase one's taxes. I would say that if you're paying high taxes, you're actually not as patriotic as Robert is, who pays low taxes, because Robert's doing what the government wants him to do. And the government actually profits more off of this side than this side. Why? Well, look at this. If you've got over here, you're creating all these jobs. This person may be paying low taxes who owns the business, but what about all of these employees? They're over here. They're paying high taxes, right? These people may be paying low taxes, but they have employees and they have people helping them in the self-employed area. They're paying taxes, doctors, lawyers, accountants. So they're creating income and they're creating taxes. They're just multiplying. They're leveraging it. It's just not their taxes. Somebody would rather it be somebody else's taxes. Raise your hand. And here's the thing. It's not that, well, I don't want to pay taxes, but I want somebody else to pay taxes. It's not that at all. All I'm trying to tell you is you have a choice as to how much tax you pay. You are choosing right now. I want you to think about that tax bill that's coming up in April, next month. You are choosing to pay that. And I'm not saying you can just not pay it. I'm not saying that at all, okay? That's illegal. You go to jail for that. What I'm saying is you're choosing your actions that are creating the tax liability. It's not the income that's creating the tax liability. It's the lack of education and the lack of doing what the government wants you to do that is creating the tax liability.
So let me show you how this whole thing works here. This here's a 1964 half dollars, 50 cents. It's a Kennedy half dollar. And this is $10. And I'll show people this. Which one would you rather have? They all go for this one. They do. This is worth 10 on 3 of these. And what's happening, the more they print, it's not that this is going up, this is coming down here. So that's why I put savers or losers. If you're saving money, that's the most stupid thing you can do, because they're stealing it right off the top from you. But our schools teach us to save and all that. And, you know, Dave Ramsey's a friend of mine, says live debt free. I said, this is debt. It comes from a treasury bond. And the end's going to come. I can tell you where the end's going to come. It's when Japan and China and the other countries stop buying our bonds. When they stop buying our T-bills and those, it's over. You're going to see cash. You're going to see hyperinflation like the Weimar Republic. So that's why I talk and I teach. But I want to show you one more experience that Tom can help me on. So it's just miserable holding these mics. So financial education is not just, money and all this stuff here. So what I did, I've been chasing gold most of my life. I remember when gold was 35 an ounce. And then I was in Vietnam, it went up to 50. And then it went as high as 700 and all this stuff. Silver went all through the roof and all this. But in 2000, gold was how much? Who knows what gold was? 300. So when it hit 300, I said, it's called technical trading. So it's 3 at the bottom. And I hit it really hard. So I had the gold I bought eventually went to 10 million. So I had 10 million in gold. What's the problem with that? No income. So how do I convert it to money? The way I do it was this way, Dave Ramsey and I go nuts. What I did was I borrowed 80 million. And that created an asset of $90 million. They're Kenny's apartment houses. So I went into apartment houses. So I have 90 million there. It's pushing off, I don't know how much in cash flow. But why do I pay less tax, Tom?
Well, because the tax benefit of buying this called depreciation, and that's chapter 7 of tax-free wealth. The tax benefit is it's not based on the 10 million that Robert put in. It's based on the 90 million purchase price. So he's not just leveraging his cash flow, he's also leveraging his tax benefits. If you're not leveraging your tax benefits, you're losing most of your tax. He'd be losing 80-90% of his tax benefits if he didn't leverage. So yeah, you can go buy a rental property for cash, but you're going to pay tax every single year because your depreciation is not even going to be enough to offset your cash.
So I need to get the asset price up, and
Right.
I use
It's not taxable, even if it's non-recourse, meaning Robert borrows this. Robert's not on the hook for this. The building's on the hook for it. Okay, that's called non-recourse debt. So if the whole thing fails, they go after the building. They don't go after Robert. But that's the advantage. That's why you've got to do it over and over and over again. Because when you're small, they will go after you. Okay, that's called recourse debt. But once you get bigger, like Robert is and Kenny, then they get non-recourse debt, which means they can only go after this in the first place, but it's still non-taxable. Debt is non-taxable.
and the cash flow is appreciation, not tax, depreciation, amortization. That's all in Tom's books. Appreciation, depreciation, amortization. I need to get my asset price up so I can depreciate it down. And these people who are saving cash can't do that. On top of that, the government's printing it so fast, the purchasing power of your dollar is going down. And that's what they don't teach you at school. So the reason you have the cash flow board game is nothing against financial planners and all that, but they're going to sell you paper. Stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. I don't buy those. I sell those. I create them. That's a capitalist. But it takes years of practice having guys like Tom, so that when somebody says you should buy gold, I have to look at how it's going to fit into this.
Right.
But when I knew, because it's called technical trading, when gold hit 300 in 2000, backed up the truck. And then it went up to millions and millions and millions, which then I added debt to the whole thing, stepped up my basis into apartment houses, making much more money, no tax, legally.
Now, this is not a shameless commercial for Tom. Again, I don't make any commission if you decide to work with him. But, you know, my wife and I, we've used the same accounting firm for over a decade. And I'm telling you, I have no hesitation in using the same firm years after year after year because of how much money you can save. But you got to look at accounting as like the defense of your business, and the marketing and the branding and that kind of thing is the offense. Okay. Does that make sense? And then the product or service you offer is kind of like special teams. Okay. So what questions do you guys have? I'm going to start with JT Lawson. First question here. JT Lawson, you come up here. JT Lawson is he owns a dog training business. He and I are partnered together. And Robert, he's read all your books. He's dialed in, and he has a great question for you guys. So here we go.
Yeah, and you've dealt with it a little bit, Robert, but I and a lot of people can attest to this too. The Rich Dad Poor Dad book changed your life. And when I read it, I started highlighting things that I did not know, and then I found out my whole book is now pink because I'm just highlighting all of it, you know. And then when I read it, I was like, everyone has to know this because we're all going to be rich. So I immediately went to Barnes & Noble. I bought the second one, Cash Flow Quadrant. And that's actually how I met Clay, because I learned everyone in my life was an employee, not a business owner. But I bought 6 copies to give to friends and family. And I went and I gave them all out, came back 6 months later. The book that I got for my family was still in the same spot, covered in dust. And I was like, have you guys had a chance to read it? And they were like, well, we haven't had time. And this is while they're watching Netflix and then doing a puzzle on a computer. And so I guess my question is, because one of the reasons I want to change my life is so I can change my family's life as well. So do you have any advice as to getting them on board with wanting to change their life? Or is it kind of one of those things, do it myself and then pay for everything later? I don't know. That's kind of my question.
There's a saying I have: don't teach pigs to sing. It wastes your time. It annoys the pig. And
that's a good answer.
You can't be a prophet in your hometown.
Yeah.
Clay. And your brothers and sisters think you're an idiot anyway. So the more you talk to your brothers and sisters, it just the blood pressure goes up. It's the same as me. And I create the cash flow board game and all that. And my little sister is so proud she's on welfare with her master's degree. I'm collecting from the government to go. I shot better people than you. You know what I mean? But we have really gone to a welfare mentality. This guy, Obama, I'm not Republican or Democrat, he did more damage to this country than I can explain. He's from Hawaii, and my friends knew him. I said, my God. He's the one who put in the student loan thing. Student loans are the worst possible debt possible. And his job was to get students of poor families, not rich families. Rich families, they pay for the school. But when Obama put in the student loan program, would you take out a student loan, Tom?
No.
Understand,
No.
it's the worst possible debt.
Robert, real quick survey, just to let you know where the audience stands on all things Obama.
Wait, I want to hear that. It's the worst possible debt you can get. But that's what they're imposing upon the poor kids. Not the poor kids, any kid who wants to go to college.
Right.
It's criminal what they're doing. Watch what they do, not what they say. Education's fine, but what's the long-term price?
And look what those student loans did to the price of college.
Yes.
It increased that price, tripled, quadrupled it because of the student loans. It was too easy.
Why is it the worst type of loan?
Well, it's not forgivable.
Did you know that I can BK out, I can bankrupt out. You can't bankrupt from student loans.
Yeah, it's a loan for, it's not a, if it's good debt and bad debt, right? I mean, good debt creates an asset, and an asset is something that puts money in your pocket. So if you've got debt that puts money in your pocket, that's a good thing, right? In fact, I would tell you that people who don't like debt is because they don't trust the asset that they would purchase with the debt. And my thought is, if you don't trust the asset enough to get a loan, why would you put your own money into it? Right? So if you're afraid of debt, it's just because you don't trust the asset. It's that simple. And student debt is just, it's a debt that you're never going to get your money out of it. You're just not. There are other ways.
I don't know why Obama and those guys are doing that, but they hate our country. I hate to say it. I know, I'm going, my God, how can you do that to our country? It's called traitor. So anyway, that's my last political words.
Well, Robert, I wanted you to hear from the audience real quick here. Okay, so if I were to describe you, I would describe you as an entrepreneur. If we were to describe Eric Trump, you might say, he's a father, he's a great man. If you guys were to describe Michelle Obama, what would you say? Okay, that's just where we're at here. So I didn't quite hear what they said, but we're moving on. Okay, what other questions do you guys have? Yes, ma'am. What question do you have? Come on up here. Come on. If you have a question, come on up here on the mic. That way people on the live stream can hear you. Other questions? Any more questions? Come on up here on the mic. Get on the mic. You guys come up on the mic here.
Well, let's just come up here. Let me just say this here. This is the worst quadrant possible. So if you're going to start a business, you must understand real estate first. Otherwise, you get trapped here. So you're always balancing into this, once that's true.
Well, yeah, the purpose of the business is to invest in food, energy, and housing. Yeah, it produces the cash flow, but you're investing so much more if you don't have to pay taxes on it. I mean, think about this. So let's say you earn $10,000 and you pay 40% tax. That means you have $6,000 to invest, and you invest it for 10 years, for 30 years at 10%. And you pay 40% on the income. After 30 years, you'll have roughly $35,000. I know this, I ran these numbers, okay? If you earn the $10,000 and didn't pay tax on the $10,000, and then you invest that for 30 years at 10%, but pay no tax on the investment, after 30 years, you'll have almost $200,000. So how many prefer 200 to 35? Raise your hand. But that's why taxes are killing you. You worry about, I'm not building any wealth. I don't know if I'm going to be able to retire. It's likely as much because of taxes and how you're dealing with taxes than anything you're investing or spending your money on otherwise.
I say one more thing. When I was leaving the Marine Corps and I was going to start a business, Rich Dad said the first thing you have to do is invest in real estate.
Yep.
I had to take real estate classes and all this before I started my business, so I could offset taxes. And then I went into energy and then agriculture.
Well, the great thing, and you bought the real estate, and the real estate produces income, right? So it's not like you spent money to reduce your taxes. You invested the money to produce income, and as a result, you reduce your taxes. Whole different thought process.
Now, with the final 10 minutes we've got you guys today, we're going to do some kind of a rapid fire Q&A. So no statement questions, just questions. No statement questions, okay? No statement questions. Michelle Obama fans, be careful. Okay, here we go. I'll pass the mic to you.
Okay. I think you just answered this, but just for clarity, let's say you make $500,000 on the S side.
Okay.
And then you have real estate,
Okay.
or you buy real estate, and you take the taxes, that's without taxes, right? 500,000 left over to
Right.
invest, and you stick it over on your real estate side. You buy something, whatever.
For 2.5 million.
Yeah. Do you not have to pay taxes on that 500,000?
Correct. The deductions are higher than the amount of the income that you received in the first place because you're using debt.
My accountant is terrible.
Well, you might want a new accountant then.
Okay, next question, rapid fire.
Okay, so I feel like I'm getting bad
She
advice
cracks
as
me
well.
up, man. I tell you.
I also have a tax deferred account, and I've got 9 years to be able to touch it.
Okay.
But you keep telling me the dollar is decreasing, live on debt, use it, and that's what I want to use for properties. Something to do, go for it, or leave it alone.
So I always say run the numbers. Okay, don't pretend to run the numbers. Actually run the numbers. And the reason is because you're going to pay tax on that anyway, right? Okay. So the only thing that you're giving up potentially is the 10% penalty for taking out early. So if you took out, let's say you had $100,000 and you took it out and you bought $500,000 of property. Okay. You borrowed 80%, right? Loan to value, and bought $500,000 of property. That $500,000 of property will probably offset the $100,000 of income from taking the money out. And now you have to pay $10,000. So your cost of taking it out is $10,000. But think about this. Now you're out. So you got the money out for only 10%. To me, that's a screaming deal. Now you have to run the numbers. You have to make sure that you've changed your facts so that you can change your tax. But once you do that and you run the numbers, then frequently I find that it's better to just take the money out.
And one more thing is, you guys, real estate's a tough game. If I was Oklahoma, the guy with the oil and gas guy last night, I'd invest with him. Oil and gas is a lot, to me, smarter. As Trump says, drill, baby, drill. That's energy. But you guys are also in cattle country,
Right.
and there's agriculture. Real estate's a tougher game.
It is.
I mean, I don't recommend it.
And on top of that, the tax benefits of oil and cattle are greater than the tax benefits of real estate.
And it's a lot easier.
Now, Robert, this next question here comes from Steve Currington. He's one of the top mortgage lenders in America. He's also been kicked out of our conference 5 or 6 times. So, Steve Currington, what question do you have?
Yes, this man, mortgages are my God, man.
I was going to tell you, tell everyone why you should get a mortgage versus using your cash. That would be is that your opinion? Because I have people that call me and they say, well, I don't want to get a mortgage. I just want to pay cash. And 90 days to 6 months later, they're calling me about, do I do HELOCs? And can I do a cash out refi? So can you kind of talk about how you leverage borrowing money versus using your cash? Or do you rather just pay cash for real estate?
No.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
The only reason God created real estate is I could borrow money on it. If I could borrow money on cattle, I'd borrow money on cattle. But real estate is for debt.
That's the big benefit of real estate.
If I said, I'm going to raise cabbages, would you finance me? No. But the dirt, you might. Yeah. Real estate is good for debt, credit. Remember, the US dollar is credit, it's not money, it's debt. Okay.
Steve, you're now off probation. That was a good question.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, there you go. Didn't get a rebuke. Okay, our next question here. What question do you have, sir?
Follow up to that one is if we have more than 30-40% of your house paid off, is there a certain number that you have of a home, like a percentage that you'd say now pull a loan out on that?
I don't do that. Man, I turned that over to Tom.
Yeah. So thank you for that.
I'm an F student. Remember that. Don't ask F students.
You run the numbers, because what you have to look at is, okay, I'm borrowing. If I'm borrowing at, like, if you're pulling money out, you're probably pulling it out 9.5%, right? That's the HELOC rate, right? Yeah. So you're pulling it out 9.5%. You better be making more than 9.5% on the real estate you're buying, else it makes no sense. Negative leverage is bad. That is really bad. So you want to make sure you're positively leveraging, meaning that your return is higher than your debt service.
We have time for 2 final questions. 2 final questions. Yes, sir.
How will the principles in your chart change if Trump is successful in replacing the Internal Revenue Service with the External Revenue Service?
Whoa.
Look, my attitude is they don't count in my life. I'm not going to pay them anyway.
Well, there you go. So we'd have a long conversation about the chances of that happening are not as high as you might hope. They're pretty low for a lot of reasons.
Spurl, you're from Canada. Are we more likely to abolish the IRS or annex Canada? What's your bet there?
I'd say annex Canada.
What'd you say, Spurl? Those are only 2 options. What do you think? I don't think either very likely. Very negative over there. Okay, that guy. It's a Canadian thing. It's a negative thing. Okay, one more question here. Okay, here you go.
Thank you. Can you talk about the best ways to leave the S category if you feel like you're trapped in it? Thank you.
What was that?
How to leave the S, how to
The
go,
self-employment
how to
category.
leave this.
There's nothing wrong with S.
Yeah.
You've got to be in multiple quadrants. What happens to S's, they get stuck there.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, like, if I lived here in Tulsa, I was, let's say, an attorney, I'd be tracking down that oil and gas guy who was
Yeah.
drilling in the Bakken.
Yep.
I'd be looking for the guys in energy or housing or food. And I want to get to know them personally.
Yep. Because you want
I
to be
know.
inside.
I know my food guys, I know my housing guys, I know my energy guys. We're all tight. It is, I have my advisors are tight. We're friends.
Now, folks, I want to add just one little note here. I'll go back to you, Tom. I believe money is a certificate of appreciation. Maybe you don't agree. This is how I view money. It's a certificate of appreciation. So if I go out to a dinner and the waiter does a good job, I like to tip him. That's what I like to do. And so if you have learned something from Tom, you know, Tom's going to be selling his books here. And if you want to buy a book, they're $25. Okay, we're $25. If you want to buy a book, that's super great. But I think one way you can show appreciation is one by, you know, paying for something. The second is giving someone a round of applause. Right? That's a big thing. Big round of applause. Okay. And now I have successfully convinced Eric Trump to come back here about every 90 days. That's about every 90 days. We trick him into coming in. I haven't convinced him to buy the Mayo Hotel yet, although I'm working on it. How many of you would like to see Robert Kiyosaki and Tom Wheelwright come back again? All right. So, Robert, I'm going to give you.
I want to say you're the most impressive young man I've seen in a long time. Amazing. Just amazing. Congratulations, man.
I'm
impressive.
I really, my wife knows I have just devoured your books, and it's been just an awesome thing to have you here. And tonight we're gonna have a VIP for those of you who bought the VIP tickets, where we can spend a little more time with you, and we're gonna make sure we serve great food. But I want to go to you, Tom, for a final word, then Robert for a final word.
So in the spirit of this place, I'm going to do some shameless promotion. So a lot of you have asked me, how do I find one of your franchisees? This is it. TFW Advisors, as in tax-free wealth advisors.us. This is the U.S. Franchise until we go to Canada next. Okay. TFWadvisors.us. And we're happy to talk to anybody. Okay. One of the advantages of a franchise system is if you have a single firm, the disadvantage is you can only serve a single type of clientele. But if you have multiple firms, you can serve all different levels of clientele. And that's what we've done. So we have some franchisees that serve people who are just starting out. And we have some that serve people in the middle and some that serve very complex situations. So whatever your situation is, if we can help, we're happy to. If not, buy the book and get your tax advisor to read the book.
Robert Kiyosaki, can't tell you how much I appreciate you being here. Just absolutely. You have no idea. It's awesome. I'm trying to take a photo of this moment in my mind. Because it really is just awesome. So, sir, I want to honor you and give you the final word there, sir.
Well, I have one word for Clay and all of you. I am speechless. You guys are impressive people. I am very, very, very impressed. I will leave with the highest of regard for you, your group here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Now,
thank you.
We had a couple people that were gone when we did the group photo. So we're going to do one more group photo. So let's have Robert here and Tom here. Steve, could you kind of move stuff around? Vanessa, JT, come on up here. Trisha and Dave, you guys want to come up, hop in the group photo here? Paul, Jamie, you guys want to hop in the group photo? We'll do a group photo. Let's get Jamie in there. This just in, if you've survived cancer, you get to be in the photo. Okay, so come on in. Okay, if you've survived cancer and you spoke today, you're definitely getting in the photo. Let's all squeeze in here. Okay, we're all going to squeeze in here. Okay, Andrew's relocating. Everybody squeeze on in. Everybody's super important. We don't want anyone to be missed. Hey, Jordan, are you going to get in this photo? Jordan, are you in your big hat going to get in the photo? Seth, are you getting in the photo? Whole house, you coming in this photo? Seth, come on in here. Bring in your whole head in this whole house photo. Come on in here. Let's go. Everybody squeeze. Where's Masood? Masood, are you getting the photo? We can't have a photo without Masood. This guy's the best American I've ever met right here, Masood. He's incredible. Masood, come on in here. I think we're all getting in here. Come on in here. Charles, you get in this photo? Amber, you get in this photo? What's going on? Aubrey, you in the photo back there? Can we see you through the fog back there? Are you fogging it up? Okay, here we go. Okay, we're going to do 3 photos, okay? Photo number 1, we're having a good time. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Photo number 2, everybody yell Kiyosaki on 3. It's a lot of syllables, but here we go. 3, 2, 1, Kiyosaki!
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
Sean, guess what's happening on June 5th and 6th right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem?
We are probably going to have an amazing business conference here at Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Yes, we're joined by Tim Tebow. Tim Tebow is going to be joining us right here at the Thrivetime Show World Headquarters June 5th and 6th. He's a very successful football player, obviously a Heisman Award winner, but he's also a very successful entrepreneur. Now, when you work with real clients, Sean, clients you really work with to help them grow their companies, do you ever hear a business owner tell you that they didn't have time to get something done?
Every day.
How often is not having enough time a problem for business owners?
All the time. It's like maybe 90% of the issues as people are trying to grow their company.
Well, Tim Tebow is going to come join us here at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop, and he's going to teach us time management and his approach to personal self-discipline and getting things done. Also at the workshop, I'll put up on the website so people can see it here. Also at the 2-day interactive workshop, Sean, we are going to be, there it is. We're going to be teaching accounting, systems creation, marketing, human resources, how to hire, inspire, train, and retain great people, accounting, social media advertising, search engine optimization. Sean, what's the area where most clients ask you for help the most? Is it generating leads? Is it hiring people? What's the biggest issue that most business owners have by default before they come to one of our workshops?
Well, I think it's management, because time is the most valuable resource for these business owners, and being able to manage their time is the first thing. Once they get that under control, then generally the numbers, being able to track their business and be able to make the best decisions based on numbers rather than emotions is a big area. And we teach all of this stuff at the business conference, particularly you, Clay. You love to hammer on time management. It's my favorite part of the conference.
Now, I'm going to pull this up real quick here because we're going to go through. If you're not excited, I want to get you excited about what we're going to cover at the workshop here. Okay.
All right.
The 2-day interactive workshop. This is my 20th year hosting workshops. So I'm telling you, folks, we're in rare form here. So one is the idea of establishing your revenue goals. I think most entrepreneurs don't know their revenue goals. Would you agree, or am I off my rocker?
No, that's totally a very important point we do with every one of our new clients that come on board, is we have to establish the revenue goals. And generally speaking, we have a vague idea, but not an exact idea that can be engineered down into like the daily goals for sales. And so that's a really big one.
Now, next is the break-even numbers. What kind of sales do you have to do to even break even?
Yeah.
Third is, how many hours per week do you want to work? What is your ideal schedule as an entrepreneur? Box number 4, how do you stand out in the clutter of commerce? What makes your company unique from all the different businesses? In a world of brown cows, herds of brown cows, proverbial brown cows, the analogy of brown cows, how can you be the purple cow that stands out? How can you be the squeaky wheel that gets the oil? Box number 5, branding. How do you improve the perception that people have of you, your business, your brand? Box number 6, marketing, your 3-legged marketing stool. What is a turnkey way for you and your company to generate leads so you can succeed? Because if you don't have any leads, your business will bleed. If you can't sell, your business will go to hell. You've got to generate leads. Sean, how often do business owners by default tell you they have a hard time generating leads?
It's almost all of the time. It's really a huge struggle. And many times they may be creating leads, but just through word of mouth. So they get to a point where we've implemented systems, and then they need to create more leads, but they've never had to do it. So there's a lot of different scenarios where business owners are like, how do you create leads? Something we hammer on at the conference a lot.
Box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Again, box number 7, create a sales conversion system. Sales scripts, recorded calls, one-sheets, pre-written emails, lead trackers, all of the sales tools, the sales print pieces, the one-sheets, the big screens that you see inside the business. Whether you're a doctor, you're a dentist, you're a lawyer, you got to have sales systems in place. We help you with that. Box number 8, what does it cost you to get another customer? Step number 8, what does it cost you to actually acquire a customer? Step number 9, it's hard to build an organization if you're not organized. We're going to teach you how to create repeatable systems, processes, file organization. Box number 10, we're going to teach you how to manage people, real people on the planet Earth. This just in, we're going to teach you how to manage real people on the planet Earth. Box number 11, how to create a sustainable schedule that works for you and your family. Step number 12, how to create human resources systems for recruiting, hiring, training, and retaining great people. Box number 13, accounting. This just in, we have to cover accounting. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. We're going to cover all the accounting things you need to know. And step 14, finally, what is the point of even achieving success? We're going to go over what is the point of even achieving success, how to design a life that you're excited about, how to design a life where you carve out enough time for your faith, your family, your finance, your fitness, your friendship, your fun, and where you're going to spend your focused time. We're going to go through that, all this and more. Now, the workshop, Sean, it's June 5th and 6th.
Yep.
It's a 2-day interactive workshop.
Yes.
And tickets, we always do it. It's $250 or whatever price that someone can afford. Sean, why do we let people name their price? Why do we have scholarship tickets available if somebody can't afford the $250 general admission ticket?
Well, we don't want anybody to miss out on it. You know, you could be at a startup phase or you could be, way along in your business, but we want to make it accessible for everybody. I think it actually goes back to a story of your dad. And like, it goes all the way back to how you've always done this as a business coach, trying to make sure that, your average people out there have access to the things that work.
Now, 7 a.m. to 5, Sean, why do we go from 7 to 5 both days? I mean, it's 10 hours a day. 20 hours of training over 2 days. Why do we do 10 hours a day, Sean, of back-to-back workshops? We do a 30-minute teaching session. We do a 15-minute question and answer session, and then we take a break. 30 minutes of teaching, 15 minutes of question and answer, then we take a break. Why do we do that format, Sean?
That format is so that we can keep people engaged and not just sitting there listening, but also getting involved. We really encourage people to ask questions, and that's really where the juiciness of the conference comes out, is you can put your personal situation and your questions on the board, and Clay will tee off and give you direct advice. Even without being in our coaching program, you can get direct coaching from Clay. It's really a very engaging format. I enjoy it a lot.
Sean, final 60 seconds, pop quiz here. What date is the conference?
June 5th and 6th, 2025, this year.
Question number 2, who's our keynote speaker coming to the conference there, Sean?
Tim Tebow is our keynote speaker.
Sean, question number 3, how much does it cost to come to our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma?
I think it's, did you say it's $250 or whatever you can afford?
That's right, $250
Yes.
or whatever you can afford. Sean, how do you spell Eric Trump backwards?
P-M-U-R-T-C-I-R-E. Ooh, that took a long time.
I'll have to listen to this. And you did it right. All right, again, that's Sean Lohman. I'm Clay Clark, inviting you to come join us at the in-person Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Sean, I'm excited to have this event. I'm excited to see you at the event, June 5th and 6th, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Tim Tebow, baby. It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
You could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Clay Clark is here somewhere. Where's my buddy Clay? Clay's the greatest. I met his goats today. I met his dogs. I met his chickens. I saw his compound. He's like the greatest guy.
I ran from his goats, his chickens, his dogs.
So this guy's like the greatest marketer you've ever seen, right? His entire life, Clay Clark, his entire life is marketing.
Hey guys, Luke Erickson here with the Thrivetime Show. As you can see behind me, we've got all kinds of energy going on. People are starting to show up for the conference, and it is hot in this place. We got grill guns over here. We've got people playing the drums. We've got a fire breather, and man, people are so excited as they come in. The conference is kicked off. This house is packed. We've got Aaron Hansis with Shaw Holmes up there. We've got Steve Currington with Total Lending Concepts up there talking about what is possible when you just implement, when you do the proven system. It's so exciting. People are going crazy. Guys, Luke Erickson with the Thrivetime Show here with you. It is day 2 and the energy is high. People are so excited to be showing up. The team is ready. Come on, let's see what it's like to go on in for day 2. Follow me. People are so excited to be here for day 2. It is going to be incredible. Cannot wait to see what today has in store. Right now, here at the conference, we've broken into groups going over search engine optimization. I know for most of us, myself included, if you hear that term, you go, what is that? What does that mean? That's too techie for me. Well, our experts are breaking it down for people so that you can clearly understand how to come up top in Google. It's doable. It's possible. Now we're in the middle of a break, and what we like to do is we like to give you as much tangible and relevant information from about the start of the hour for 45 minutes. Then we take approximately a 15-minute break to allow people to connect with other entrepreneurs around them, bathroom breaks, and also use this time to just really digest all of the good information that you're receiving the whole time. Right behind me, we've got Bob with his grill gun, melting an ice sculpture. It is awesome. The ice sculpture represents our life, right? It's here for a time, but we all need to have the sense of urgency to implement the things that we're learning so that we can make the most of the time that we have.
I heard about it on the podcast. Started listening to the podcast, became a fan, and then figured out about the workshop. I own an insurance and financial services agency, and I was hoping to learn from the workshop systems and processes. I'm big on systems and processes and always learning better ways to run a business more efficiently. The atmosphere's second to none. It's a high energy, really cool atmosphere to be around. Contagious, I would say. Just something every entrepreneur, I think, would appreciate and love. I'd say humorous, high energy, and full of substance, which I think is the key. A lot of business coaches or seminars maybe are high on motivation and making you feel good, but don't have a lot of substance that you can take back and implement, the following Monday, where his does. Man, there's a lot of valuable things. I'm gonna say, this is my second workshop. The first workshop I took back really the importance of a group interview. I used to spend hours and hours interviewing people, screening resumes, and that saving my time on that part is valuable. It was that and then the sales scripting that have been two major things just so far. Man, I think they're missing out on, expert advice from somebody who's been there, done that, built companies, has learned a lot of lessons. That's what I'm always looking for, is somebody that I can learn from that's ahead of where I am. And I think if you choose not to come, you're missing out on a lot of good advice that could help your business.
Hi, I'm Aaron Antis with Shaw Homes. I first heard about Clay through a mortgage lender here in town who had told me what a great job he had been doing for them. And I actually noticed he was driving a Lamborghini all of a sudden, so I was willing to listen. In my career, I've sold a little over $800 million in real estate. So honestly, I thought I kind of knew everything about marketing and homes. And then I met Clay, and my perception of what I knew and what I could do definitely changed. After doing $800 million in sales over a 15-year career, I really thought I knew what I was doing. I've been managing a large team of salespeople for the last 10 years here with Shaw Homes. And we've been a company that's been in business for 35 years. We've become one of the largest builders in the Tulsa area, and that was without Clay. So when I came to know Clay, I really thought, man, there's not much more I need to know, but I'm willing to listen. The interesting thing is our internet leads from our website has actually, in a 4-month period of time, has gone from somewhere around 10 to 15 leads in a month to 180 internet leads in a month. Just from the few things that he's shown us how to implement that I honestly probably never would have come up with on my own. So I got a lot of good things to say about the system that Clay put in place with us. And it's just been an incredible experience. I am very glad that we met and had the opportunity to work with Clay. So the interaction with the team and with Clay on a weekly basis is honestly very enlightening. One of the things that I love about Clay's perspective on things is that he doesn't come from my industry. He's not somebody who's in the home building industry. I've listened to all the experts in my field. Our company has paid for me to go to seminars, international builders shows, all kinds of places where I've had the opportunity to learn from the experts in my industry. But the thing that I found working with Clay is that he comes from such a broad spectrum of working with so many different types of businesses that he has a perspective that's difficult for me to gain because I get so entrenched in what I do, I'm not paying attention to what other leading industry experts are doing. And Clay really brings that perspective for me. It is very valuable time every week when I get that hour with him. From my perspective, the reason that any business owner who's thinking about hooking up with Thrive needs to definitely consider it is because the results that we've gotten in a very short period of time are honestly monumental. It has really exceeded my wildest expectation of what he might be able to do. I came in skeptical because I'm very pragmatic, and as I've gone through the process over just a few months, I've realized it's probably one of the best moves we've ever made. I think a lot of people probably feel like they don't need a business or marketing consultant because they maybe are a little bit prideful and like to think they know everything. I know that's how I felt coming in. I mean, we're a big company that's definitely one of the largest in town. And so we kind of felt like we knew what we were doing. And I think for a lot of people, they let their ego get in the way of listening to somebody that might have a better or different perspective than theirs. I would just really encourage you if you're thinking about working with Clay. I mean, the thing is, it's month to month. Go give it a try and see what happens. I think in the 35-year history of Shaw Homes, this is probably the best thing that's happened to us. And I know if you give them a shot, I think you'll feel the same way. I know for me, the thing I would have missed out on if I didn't work with Clay is I would have missed out on literally an 1,800% increase in our internet leads. Going from 10 a month to 180 a month, that would have been a huge financial decision to just decide not to give it a shot. I would absolutely recommend Clay Clark to anybody who's thinking about working with somebody in marketing. I would skip over anybody else you were thinking about, and I would go straight to Clay and his team. I guarantee you're not going to regret it because we sure haven't.
My name is Danielle Sprick, and I am the founder of D Sprick Realty Group here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. After being a stay-at-home mom for 12 years and my 3 kids started school and they were in school full-time, I was at a crossroads and trying to decide what do I want to do? My degree and my background is in education, but after being a mom and staying home and all of that, I just didn't have a passion for it like I once did. My husband suggested real estate. He's a home builder, so real estate and home building go hand in hand, and we just rolled with it. I love people, I love working with people, I love the building relationships. But one thing that was really difficult for me was the business side of things, the processes and the advertising and marketing. I knew that I did not have what I needed to make that what it should be. So I reached out to Clay at that time, and he and his team have been extremely instrumental in helping us build our brand, help market our business, our agents, the homes that we represent. Everything that we do is a direct line from Clay and his team and all that they've done for us. We launched our brokerage, our real estate brokerage, 8 months ago. And in that time, we've gone from myself and one other agent to just this week, we signed on our 16th agent. We have been blessed with the fact that we right now have just over 10 million in pending transactions. 3 years ago, I never would have even imagined that I would be in this role that I'm in today, building a business, having 16 agents. But I have to give credit where credit's due. And Clay and his team and the business coaching that they've offered us has been huge. It's been instrumental in what we're doing. Don't ever limit your vision. When you dream big, big things happen.
I started a business because I couldn't work for anyone else. I do things my way. I do what I think is in the best interest of the patient. I don't answer to insurance companies. I don't answer to large corporate organizations. I answer to my patient, and that's it. My thought when I opened my clinic was I can do this all myself. I don't need additional outside help in many ways. I went to medical school. I can figure this out. But it was a very, very steep learning curve. Within the first 6 months of opening my clinic, I had a $63,000 embezzlement. I lost multiple employees. Clay helped us weather the storm of some of the things that are just a lot of people experience, especially in the medical world. He was instrumental in helping with the specific written business plan. He's been instrumental in hiring good quality employees, using the processes that he outlines for getting in good talent, which is extremely difficult. He helped me in securing the business loans. He helped me with web development and search engine optimization. We've been able to really keep a steady stream of clients coming in because they found us on the web. With everything that I encountered, everything that I experienced, I quickly learned it is worth every penny to have someone in your team that can walk you through and even avoid some of the pitfalls that are almost invariable in starting your own business. I'm Dr. Chad Edwards, and I own Revolution Health and Wellness Clinic.
Clay, my honor to be on your show. And thank you for all you do. I hear the ripple effects from you are good ripple effects. You know what I mean? People rave about what they learned from you. So congratulations.
And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. Hi, I'm Kelsey with K&D's Woodruff Finishing, business owner at 23. So I've been working this K&D's company for about 5 years now, and we started working with Thrive not too long ago. And we went from expecting maybe 250,000 this year to we're at 400,000. That's what we're going to hit or exceed. So we're pretty excited about that. It's been pretty much just listening to what they have to say. Their hiring process has just really been incredible as far as finding good quality help, and the just the accountability of meeting up with them weekly, and like such good insight, the resources that they have for specific business questions. It's all been really incredible. It's been a great experience, so I would recommend it to anybody.
What I've seen from Clay and his group at Thrive is they'll give you a simple system, and it's the simple systems are the ones that people can wrap their brain around. They're the ones that people can work with on a day-to-day basis.
Hi there, my name is Stephanie Pipkin. I am 24 years old and I own Black River Falls Cleaning Services. We opened in April of 2019 and it is now mid-June of 2020. So I wanted to talk today about the success and growth I have achieved by implementing the Proven Path with Clay Clark's team and my business coach Luke from Thrivetime. It has been insane to say the least. I started working with them in mid-February of this year, so we're about 4 months in of working together, and it has completely transformed my business in pretty much every facet. So I'm gonna check my notes here. So in 4 months, my leads have tripled. I was getting probably like 2 leads a week. Now I'm getting more in the like 10 to 15 leads a week. I have doubled my number of employees. I'm now hitting the highest revenue weeks in the history of the company, week to week it seems like. We went from about 6 appointments today as our highest in February to now 14 to 15 appointments a day. And hiring quality employees has become much simpler and less stressful by using their systems for hiring. I typically only get maybe 2 complaints a month, if that, and everybody shows up to work. I just have really high quality employees now, especially in something people typically consider a high turnover type of work, you know, cleaning houses, cleaning businesses. I have amazing employees now, and I get rid of the ones who are not so amazing and bring on new ones because of, you know, group interviews and interviewing every single week. It's just been great, and such I don't waste as much time on low quality candidates anymore. And your coach will hold you accountable. I mean, which I love. Again, the tough love is really great. You know, Luke's like a stern father figure, but he's also nice, but also stern when he needs to be, when I'm being lazy and not doing the things that I know I need to do because I don't want to do them. So that's just great. Worth every penny. I mean, I'd pay him $1 million a month if I can, and maybe someday I'll be able to, but I would just say go for it. If it seems like a good fit, just go for it. Do what they say, even if you think it's stupid or ridiculous. Just do what they say because it'll work. You know, people, when they look at my business, you know, people in my town, they think I'm lucky. They think I'm just, you know, things just happen for me. And, you know, maybe I am lucky, but it has a lot to do with hard work and, you know, perseverance and, you know, working till you cry sometimes. That's just being an entrepreneur, which if you're a business owner, you understand that. But it's having these systems in place of, you know, of course I'm going to be successful. It's an absolute because I have all this stuff in the background happening, and I have Luke and Clay and everybody on their team working really hard to make sure that I'm a success. And I can tell that they are just so excited every single week when I'm having all these wins and things like that. They're so excited for me. So it's the best thing ever, and I would suggest to anybody to work with them. So sorry for the long-winded reply, but I just had so much to say, and I could go on for hours probably about how amazing they are. But thank you to Clay and Luke and the entire team there, everything you guys have done for me, and I am so excited to continue to work with you for years to come. Thanks so much for watching.
My saying is, if it's important to you, hire a coach. And I think that's one of the reasons people are not successful is they eat a cheeseburger instead of hiring a coach. You know what I mean? And so my coach pushes me. They're younger than me. They push harder. They're trained. And as my rich dad always said, you know, amateurs don't have a coach, but professionals always have coaches. So I've always had coaches for whatever is important. You know, my rich dad was one of those persons. You're on it, man. You're on it. You're on it. Everybody listen to this guy. He knows what he's talking about. You have the macro picture. Very few people have that point of view. Clay, you're an entrepreneur. I'm an entrepreneur. And as they say in Stoic, the obstacle is the way. And so if you let these pinheads get in your way, you're in trouble.